The world I created is called Celesia, and it is a world given life by the seasons, constant yet ever changing. The first main character is Evangeline Harkness, who's 18 years old. Her hair color is black, her eyes are blue, her parents are unknown, but her guardians are her adoptive parents, and her powers consist of light. And her power level is 10, and power levels range from 1 to 10, with 10 being the strongest, and it is also the most rare. So basically, normal people's powers are around a level 6 or 7. The next main character is Max Brownwood, who is 18. His hair color is auburn and his eyes are gold. His parents are deceased, so he is his own guardian, and his powers consist of fire, and his power level is also 10. The next main character is Sid Greenbrier, who's 17. He's a little bit more nerdy. His hair color is chestnut and his eyes are green, and his parents are Emery and Clove Greenbrier, and his guardians are his parents, and his powers consist of healing, and his power level is 7. So this is a map of Celesia, and we see the 4 different kingdoms. We have Heimsland, with its capital being Holland, Verlis with its capital being Naples, Astia being its capital being Ionia, and Autumnia with its capital as Vansera. And there's 4 different seas. So to the north it's the Northumbric Sea, to the east it's the Aredian Sea, the south the Stone Sea, and then to the west the Whitehurst Sea. And then we also see the Isle of Exile, which has the prison of the realm. And then in the center, where all 4 realms touch, is the Eye, which is an ancient artifact. So these are the 4 kingdoms. Heimsland is basically an eternal winter, so there's a lot of evergreen trees, a lot of snow, a lot of lights at night, so longer nights than days. And the people here typically have powers dealing with the manipulation of snow and ice and anything cold. In Verlis, it's eternal spring, so there's a lot of flowers, a lot of greenery and lakes. And so these are longer days, warmer weather, and people here typically have powers of healing, whether it's a plant that is dying, causing it to grow again, or healing of a person. And then Astia is eternal summer, so there's a lot of beaches and seaside towns. And the people here typically have powers dealing with sea and storm. And then in Autumnia, it's eternal fall, so there's a lot of different changing color leaves. And people here typically have powers dealing with fire and forging. So Evangeline is from Heimsland, Sid is from Verlis, and Max is from Autumnia. So in Heimsland, the people there typically have white hair and blue eyes, and the women typically dress in different shades of blue, like long gowns, ornate, as seen here with the detailing. And the men dress in tunics of different shades of blue as well. So it's kind of paying homage to the land and blending with that color palette. In Verlis, the people typically wear gowns of floral colors or floral designs. And the men wear green tunics that are the color of the grass. And the designs of the buildings are very ornate and incorporate floral designs into them. And as for the animals, in Heimsland there was like polar bears and wolves commonly found in winter. And then in Verlis there's animals such as rabbits and squirrels, so animals typically found in warmer climates. And then in Astia, the people typically have golden hair and sea green eyes, and there's a lot of shells, and the dresses the women wear are very gauzy, like seen here, a lot of gold accents, and then the color palette just pays homage again to the summer and all the different characteristics, and there's a lot of jewels. The men also wear tunics of turquoise, and the common animals here are those of the ocean, so dolphins and fish. And then in Autumnia, the common colors are reds, greens, burnt yellows, oranges. So the people here typically have auburn hair and golden eyes like Max. And the common animals are foxes, deer, just animals that are typically in the forest. And men wear green tunics or those other colors in the palette. And women wear thicker wool dresses with those same colors. So the religion is based off of 5 different gods, and from these gods came the different kingdoms. So Estra is the goddess of new life and fertility. So from her came forth Verlis. Niklaus is the god of snow and ice. So from him came Heimsland. Otto is the god of fire and foraging, and from him came Autumnia. And Celesia is the goddess of sea and storm, and from her came Astia. And Eva is the goddess of darkness and death, and she does not have a realm other than the dead, but it's not like a physical realm where she rules over specific people like the other gods do. So the government consists of 4 different monarchs, one from each land, so king and queen of Heimsland, Verlis, Astia, and Autumnia. And the common language throughout the whole world is Celesian, so there's only one common tongue. And so these 8 monarchs make up the Celesian Council. So they meet annually just to make sure everything's going in check. And this meeting is also a celebration where all citizens are welcome. So this festival is called the Festival of the Seasons, and it occurs on a rotating cycle of either being the winter solstice, the spring equinox, the summer solstice, and the autumn equinox. So, and the host is determined by the date. So this year, for example, it's on the spring equinox, so Verlis is the hosting kingdom. So this is that meeting of the council, and then this is what a festival looks like. So the conflict, 100 years ago, Eva was jealous of the other gods that had their own realm and people. So she took a human form and sought to destroy Celesia with her dark power and basically annihilate the world and take it over by stealing the Eye, which is that sacred artifact that's in the middle of the continent, which brings balance to Celesia and keeps the 4 kingdoms in their specific season. So the 4 monarchs worked together and combined their power to banish her to a chained coffin that was buried in the stone sea. And so this is that coffin right here. But exactly 100 years later, there was a storm at sea, and a baby girl washed ashore in a small raft on the coast of Heimsland with hair as black as midnight and eyes blue as piercing ice. And a note was left with her that read, "Buried within a long ago stolen treasure, a key awaits, unleashing a luminous spark. Only water can douse a flame without measure. Only light can drive out death and dark." And so, from a barren couple living in the coastal town of Montevert within Heimsland found the baby and took her as a blessing from Niklaus. They raised the child as their own, naming her Evangeline, and they kept her a secret until it was time for her to attend the Center of Learning, as seen here. And whenever Evangeline started going in public, her mother made her wear a platinum wig so no one would wonder about her heritage. And because her family was poor, Evangeline was often bullied in school. And so as she got older, the bullying turned physical when a classmate named Rebecca pushed her down and pulled her hair, ripping the wig off, revealing her true hair color. And so this incident also led to Evangeline discovering her latent powers of light, and which caused an explosion in self-defense and killed Rebecca accidentally. So seeing as no one had hair black as Eva or that strong power, the realm keepers immediately brought her to the quad after putting her hands in gauntlets to stifle that power. So the quad is the prison for the worst criminals in Celesia. And here, Evangeline and Max were cell neighbors. So they got to talking about their history and past. And she revealed what happened with Rebecca, and he revealed how his power, whenever it emerged, killed his parents. And so that's why he was put there. So they both decide that they're innocent and the accidents were not intentional, so they're going to try to break out together and then go to the meeting of the monarchs and clear their names and beg for their freedom, and that they just didn't deserve the cards that were dealt to them. So they break out, they hijack a boat and take it back to the mainland, Heimsland, and then they cross through the Winterland and go to Verlis, where the Festival of the Seasons is happening. And so at this point in time, they had been trekking for weeks, and they were in an alley looking for food and injured and just praying that something would come by. And then Sid walked out of his family's shop into the alley and saw them. And he always felt like an outcast. So he saw them and thought, hey, maybe they could be my friends. So they get up to talking, and then they become fast friends, and Sid heals them. And then they go into the celebration, watching the parades, going to the different shops, and trying to figure out a way into the castle to meet with the monarchs. And so Evangeline eventually shows Sid the note, and he doesn't really think anything of it at first. But then Eva comes back and binds all of the monarchs, chains them up, and is basically about to annihilate the world. And then, right as she's starting to take over, before she can kill everyone and annihilate their world, Sid understands the meaning of the riddle on the note, and he realizes that Evangeline is the key to destroying Eva. So they kind of all realize what's happening and what they have to do. So they sneak into the castle, go to that room, and Evangeline and Eva have a battle. And so, one rare occurrence that happens with Eva being a powerful goddess and Evangeline being just a mere human with powers, she realizes that her socium is max. And a socium is basically a partner and equal that has, can combine powers with hers and amplify them. So it's one specific partner, and this is very rare. So they realize that, and they combine their powers and destroy Eva. So light takes out the darkness. And here are my references.